So JV is the council member. Brenda Mueller.
Brenda, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes. First time I've come.
Is it?
Or, yeah, to get your details out.
Oh, good.
But
Appreciate that.
yeah, I came because I heard about Delbert Wells, who's going to talk about having crosswalks and then the west side down. All for that.
Good.
13th, 21st.
Yeah, yeah, well, I even talked about that at the council meeting a couple of weeks ago, remember? I was talking about having to cross the street to go to the restaurant. It was about the issue about the sidewalks. On either side of the, 135th is what the village.
135th,
Yeah,
Different
but,
location.
well, a different location, but I said it's important to have sidewalks on both sides.
How are you?
I live in Wichita. There's no sidewalks on the south side. I can't go to any place there. I can't walk.
Oh,
I have to drive,
walk through the woods.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that's also an issue. The crosswalk there is also an issue.
We have some people that want to get to Center County Park.
Yeah.
I wear
Yeah.
19th Street.
We did Bible study this morning and just
So-
fooled around the house.
Yeah.
Went for a walk.
You can't go to the street. That way.
Thank you, thank you. But that's almost out of the way.
It's more exercise.
I rode 43 miles today, so.
Did you?
Yes.
Brenda leads
So, since I saw you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Did you do Thursday?
I see you a lot more than that.
That's because I'm sensitive.
Yeah.
The meeting, more or less, so when they start, they don't switch to TV, radio, holiday, it starts flying. So they teach me all podcasts and first to reach. So podcast and have students. It's really nice. I'm learning, I don't know what property. That's a long. Oh, okay.
June retirement. They will volunteer gigs.
It will come to me, yeah. Picture house. This is out by God. Yeah.
You know, if there were the speaker says.
I live on Jamesburg. I did it. Northwest way and west.
Crosswalk, you hope people don't run.
That's right.
I've seen.
I was,
I've seen.
hey,
In fact, we were at the crosswalk, my wife and I could, I said you can. So we go this. Our. Water crossing. Yeah, you wait for the light, go. There's a car, it's probably 50 miles an hour. Yeah, right.
I was down on 47th and Clifton. Hey,
Yeah.
The crosswalk was activated down there.
When we did our bikes and breakfast,
Yeah.
crosswalk on E,
Yeah.
by the town around. It's marking the course, 2 cars ran it. When we're actually doing it on a Saturday morning.
We never had any.
Yeah, not it's yellow.
Yeah.
They look both ways. Oh, no, like, oh. Yeah. Going there. Great. Yeah, okay. See you.
Yep.
Good, you.
Dear, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. These people.
I know, I'm gonna.
Snap right through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they.
Like that, so I am. As I, whatever, you know. Updates, yeah. But. I'm good.
I won't be done by 7 o'clock.
I know.
Is it like 7:20?
No, I was like.
Be all right.
Everybody's, yeah, 7 o'clock, wait, so. Is this 7 o'clock? I was saying. 7:20?
No.
Very good. I was like, I'm seriously, it's a good decision. Yeah. Nobody's gonna. Nobody. She's my wife. We do whatever.
Well, that'll be the first early on, so.
I didn't either. I open that door every time.
How are you?
No one here that you dig up that.
Anytime you click on 60. Line position current. Yeah.
Yes.
Sean. 1, 2, 3, 4.
2 minutes.
Lane does take out. He's getting ready for Cape Carroll though.
There you go.
First couple of weeks.
Yay.
I made that.
Yeah.
We can enact policy.
Exactly. It's for like, yes. Experience.
Alright. We have the all important.
Yeah.
It is.
It's not even 6. Yeah, we're good. Say no.
News has an FQAC.
Very good.
Different.
The first time in hell. Every industry has its own lingo, right? Good, good. You know, they don't raise. I know, I did, so you need tips on raising money. He's their Huckleberry.
That's true.
He's raised millions. It's a tough environment.
Maybe I'm sharing. You know, everybody else. We really didn't have. I think you had a different time.
Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah, it's true. We should do that sometime. Not tonight, but sometime.
Yeah. Right. I love you. Not tonight. Not tonight. We don't have time for that.
Certainly all the things, but. She says.
I'm not gonna.
Time, let's go ahead and call this meeting to order, please. Hopefully everybody had a chance to review the, no, not yet. No, if you saw the agenda and had a chance to look at it, can I get an approval for the agenda for tonight?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Now, if you hopefully had a chance to review the minutes from last meeting. I get a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. This evening, we do have a resident from District 5, Delbert Wells, has asked to speak tonight on having crosswalks added for pedestrian and bicycle traffic. Delbert, would you like to come up and tell us all about it? All right, so Delbert was there. Anyone else? Anyone else know about the sidewalk
Want to talk money?
crosswalks that he was discussing? Sure.
But you got voluntold. Civic engagement. We love that for children.
Thank you.
It's.
Brenda Mueller and Whitney LLCF 9026 West Jamesburg 7201. Wow. I have never been in front of a podium with a microphone and all this gadgetry. And the reason I came here though was because I wanted to hear what Delbert had to say. But I live on the west side of town. I live at basically 21st and Tyler on Jamesburg, which is south of 21st and just a block and a half west of Tyler. And I have thought for a long time that I sure wish there was a crossing at Jamesburg and Tyler. Because when I want to go east, I go east on Jamesburg to Tyler, then jog north to the first street east, which is 19th, and then take 19th, which turns into Northwest Parkway and then Westport, and then I'm at the crossing for Ridge. Because if you're going east from the west side of town, this far west, that's the route you have to take. So the crossing at Ridge is great, but it'd be nice if there was a crossing at Tyler. And I don't know what other crossings he was really proposing, but anything that would help West Siders go east would be great. And of course, you know, West Siders like to go west too, and I don't know of any crossings west of Tyler. Do you, Alan?
No, oh, my head.
Yeah, so anyway, that's all I know about it. So I don't know what else he was gonna say, but that's my input. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone else that would like to speak who didn't get a chance to put it on our public agenda tonight? To get off agenda item? Okay, we'll move right on. May I have a motion to receive and file So moved. Second. Okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. All right, Dave, let's hear from you.
Okay, update. I've got three things, a couple on the agenda. One's not golf carts. It's the bad penny. It won't go away. Long story short, asked the police department to pull over people, youngsters who are 13, 14, driving golf carts. They should not be driving golf carts. Pull them over, which they did. But the police department also pulled over a 60-some-year-old lady going to Ladies' Day at Auburn Hills because she was driving on a sidewalk. Short distance, driving on a sidewalk. She was very, she wants to be a law-abiding citizen. She didn't want to break the law. So she's asked me, what's the deal? I can't get to Auburn Hills from my neighborhood unless I drive on a sidewalk for 2 or 3 blocks. So looking into it, we have council support to make it legal within a mile of golf courses to drive on the sidewalk for short distance. However, state law does not allow you to drive any motorized vehicle on a sidewalk. So all the scooters you see are illegal, golf carts, everything's illegal on a sidewalk. So if you're interested in that, contact your state representatives, senators, to change that law. Because we cannot get them legal until state law allows. So that's one update. Second update is Northwest Expressway. You all know I'm very much in favor of Northwest Expressway. I think it's important for the development, not only the west side, but just of Wichita. To develop traffic to get off the arterial roads. A lot of you have been on Maze Road lately. Maze Road. I was at Maze at 29th the other day, not just Sunday afternoon. Could not believe the traffic on 29th at Maze Road. So I think Northwest Expressway is important. People to get around and take some of the wear and tear off our arterial streets. So there will be KDOT will be have a local consult from 9 a.m. to noon on Wednesday, October the 8th. Wichita Metroplex, room 180. So if you're in favor of that, I encourage you to go. If you're not, please stay home. Kid, you can be not favorite too, and you can go. But anyway, it's important to have feedback from the community because they really look for feedback from the community, whether people want it or not. So it is very important. Third thing is we will have I will have concrete and conversations with the fire department representatives at Starbucks Central and Ridge, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Friday, October the 10th. This Friday. So I encourage you to come Starbucks. You can meet the fire department there, ask them any question you want. They're great conversationalists. Talk about it. So we'd love to see you there. So are there any questions?
Saw some council members had an opportunity to practice with firefighters.
They did. They did. I did not do it. Okay. You go into a firebox and everything. Said, no, I'm good. I'm good.
All right.
That's it.
That's it? Okay. All right. Anyone else? No, no question for JV? Okay. Thank you very much. So next, we're going to hear from our District 5 appointee, Andrea Scarpelli, who's going to give us an update on the search for Wichita's new city manager. If
Andrew.
you are here.
He's here. Andrew gave me an update. Last week, I don't know. Recently, and I said, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So why don't you come and share with us where you're at with the search committee? so.
All right, well, I don't have any prepared points, and what I'm really here tonight is to tell you the progress of what's going on with the search for the new city manager to what I know of it, and then to ask for feedback from you, because part of my responsibility as part of the mayor's committee is to make sure that the voices of everyone and all of the different constituencies are heard as people start to think about a replacement for the new city manager. So as you know, Bob Layton made the decision to retire and announced it mid-spring. The committee was formed. There's a representative from each district of the council and several at-large representatives. There are 11 members total. It was formed in early June. Our job so far has been to look at all of the different requests for proposals that came in to hire the search firm that is looking for the candidate. We had 14 or 15 RFPs that were submitted to look for a search firm. So a lot of interest in people helping us find a new city manager. We narrowed that down. We've chosen a group. That group has now begun the process of gathering public information. If you look at the city's website and look at the city manager tab, you can see there's a brochure that's been printed that talks about the roles and responsibilities of this job, talks a lot about Wichita, the things that are going on, kind of that puff piece that's ready to go. The firm that we're using has extensive experience in public administration. So we're seeing some good candidates. My editorial opinion, not official news. I think we're a little light on candidates yet. For it to be early October, and we expect to fill this role in the next 60 to 90 days. I'm not as satisfied with the number of candidates or the quality of candidates that we've seen so far. But the search firm believes that everyone will apply in the next couple weeks. They've been having lots and lots of conversations, but they say oftentimes jobs like this, people wait until the very end of the posting period and really in order to really actually apply. So I'm hopeful that we'll see some additional applications. This committee's responsibility has been to go out and solicit groups that we represent or that we know are important. So I have met with individuals who are interested in affordable housing. I've met with the Wichita Building Association. I've met with the Chamber. I've met with the Greater Wichita Partnership. I've met with United Way. I've met with, I don't know, there's a handful of other people that I've met with as well, along with several independent businessmen who are both West Side and East Side, so we can get a good perspective of what the city wants. So what I'm asking you now, if you have any feedback, is what types of traits? What are the things that as you think about a new city manager are the things that are important to you?
Or have any thoughts, ideas on this?
It's a loaded question.
Yeah, I have one. So the city right now is doing a really wonderful job investing in our water and wastewater infrastructure. I'm biased, I'm a water and wastewater union, but we're doing a great job investing in that infrastructure, and we are doing a great job continuing to look to the future of water and wastewater. And I really hope that whoever you guys select has some really open mind and really forward thinking thought process on where we get our water and how we utilize water.
Okay.
Any other great thoughts, ideas from the board?
So I'll ask you some questions then. Some of the things that we've talked about are tenure of a city manager. We have been extremely fortunate that our city manager has been in place for an extended period of time. And as you know, our city manager's role is really the key role because council and the mayor are not, they are policy makers, but they are not the decision makers. It's really the city manager's role that then interfaces with the policy makers and the actual doers of everything that goes on within the city. So as you think about the city manager, and we know we've had really good tenure, is tenure important to you? Is it important that you have someone who's willing to stay 10, 11, 12, 15 years? Or is it more important to you to potentially have different sets of ideas or different viewpoints that may be refreshed more often?
Do we have anyone from the audience that would like to give us some ideas? Thoughts?
You didn't tell me if you said a hard crowd. Most of you-
My view is we just need a great candidate.
Yeah,
You never know how long someone's gonna stay. Like, all the people that have said, I'm gonna stay for a decade have left in a year. that I've hired,
Right.
some people I thought would leave in a year, stayed for a long time,
Yeah.
so.
and if they're doing a good job, I want them to stay. They're not.
I know.
And by good job, I mean, I agree with what they're doing.
So thinking about that, the city manager's job oftentimes is a job that needs transparency, needs to be able to share information, needs to be able to make a decision and make a stand. Do you feel that, how important do you feel some of those qualities are?
For me, they're very important. I think one of the things that I appreciate about with Bob Layton is his soft skills. I had no idea really what he does on the back end. I don't have a financial background at all. But he takes a beating from the public, and I think even when people are combative with him, he's always willing, in my perspective, he's always been willing to weigh the pros and cons and can articulate that, especially in a group setting. I've listened to him talk about contentious subjects for several years now in front of groups of people that are either very unhappy or very happy about something. And he doesn't come across as somebody who says, we're doing it this way because I said we're doing it this way. For example, the parking conversation in downtown paid parking. I've had numerous events with him as a speaker, and he's just remained calm, and he can explain concepts to constituents in a very layman-like way. But even with that, he's always been very open to different answers to a solution. He's had like multiple various answers to the paid parking in particular. So I appreciate that. I just really appreciate somebody who's willing to want to take a beating and do it very diplomatic and respond in a very diplomatic way, and then continue explaining why they're pursuing an idea.
Yeah, it does. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. One of the other things that we're interested in, and we want to make sure that the new city manager hears our voice, is how do you, as the people of Wichita, want to be able to interact with this role? Do you want more contact, less contact? Do you like, how would you like to have your voice heard to this individual?
Audience. Yeah.
Okay, that's easy.
I think more is great, more is more.
Yeah.
Rather hear from him multiple ways.
Okay.
Versus not at all. So are there internal candidates or are they all from?
I don't know the answer to that. I do know that the HR department within the city is really who is administering all of those things. Our job from the committee standpoint has been to find the pool of candidates, make some final recommendations, and then the ultimate decision becomes that of the council and the mayor. So, all right. Again, on the city's website, there is a survey. If you're interested, it's 4 or 5 questions. We're trying to solicit as much feedback as we can so everybody's voice is heard, and there's other information there if you're interested in it.
Andrea, thank you.
You're welcome.
I didn't hear my representative on that committee, and I appreciate your service to it. I didn't tell you Andrea's qualifications. She was president of Simmons Bank, and she rose to the level of being president for a market area of what, 3 states? 3 states. Got tired of traveling all the time, and for the last 9 years, you're executive vice president at Emprise Bank. So she's hired, fired, led teams. She's got a very high skill set, and just personally somebody who I've relied on for a lot of years too, and asked her advice. So thank you very
Thank you,
much,
Stacy.
sir.
And now I'm just retired and I'm loving every minute of it. Thank you.
Okay, it's time for our staff reports. So first up is gonna be our police department. We'll have our community policing officer Williams. Report.
And I am Officer Williams with Wichita Police Department, Community Policing. Currently, I am over 11 beat and 12 beat, which is a little bit further interior. Just got to move over there. Some of the things that we have coming up, we have Second Chance Thursday coming up on October 23rd. That'll be from 9 to 4 p.m. at Evergreen Community Center and Library, and that's going to be at 2601 North Arkansas. Almost caught me there. Basically what happens there is if somebody has a suspended license or they have a revoked license, we can see whatever see what we can do to be able to get them their driver's license back, whether that be paying off SR22s for driving, or whether that be them basically going through and figuring out like what they owe to be able to get it turned back around. We have had a lot of success stories with those, so it's a really good feeling when somebody comes out and they said, man, I haven't had my driver's license in 16 years, or I've never had one, and now they finally do. So it's a good feeling at the end of the day. Last week, last week we ended up doing an event all across Wichita where we were addressing shoplifting and all types of theft, including burglaries, auto thefts, all that stuff. By the end of it, after the 4 days, we had 63 arrests, 13 stolen vehicles recovered, meth, fentanyl, crack, marijuana, and other pills recovered, and also $170,000 in property recovered. So that was a pretty big deal that we did. It was across the whole city, so we were very, very busy. So if we didn't get back to emails, that was why. Other than that, as always, just to make sure that we're keeping our garage doors shut. I know the weather's great right now, so you can kind of open it up and kind of relax, but we don't want somebody to come in and break in and get to our stuff in our garages when we forget to close it. So other than those things, do we have any questions about anything?
Tell them how you kind of just watched people do it.
It was just, so being on the other side, it was really different because we were already at the stores, like kind of waiting for people. And a lot of people that came in, we had known, we've known who they are, and the businesses knew who they are. And so they would tell us, and we'd have people in there and they'd just be standing there watching them, and they would have no clue. And they just start walking out with stuff, and we would just go and stop them. And they ask, well, who told on us? It's like, well, we were in there. And then they go, officers were in there? And like, yeah, they go, oh man. Or it was to the point where they had people's vehicles after we had gotten them stopped. And I was talking to a guy and he's like, I know I'm going to jail, but do they have to film my vehicle? Because he's sitting there and I'm just like, it's not us. So it was definitely a different event. All the officers did a great job on that one.
Thank you.
Thank you. No questions?
Thank you.
All right, let's hear from fire department, Battalion Chief Eck, give us his report.
Hello, I'm Battalion Chief Eck. I work out of Station 16 near 13th and Tyler, and I cover all your district. My stations cover all your district, also some area in District 4 and a little bit down into the center also. But so just an update on some stuff we got going on, so you guys know what we're doing, so everyone knows what we're doing. We send you guys letters whenever we have a major fire. The council gets letters, so you guys kind of know about some of that stuff. And I don't really want to walk you through all the stuff that we do at fires, because this gets kind of old after a while. So I'm going to tell you about some of the other things we got going on so you guys can keep up. Right now, October is Fire Prevention Month. You guys have probably already heard this. you'll see some banners up at some of the fire stations. There'll be some block parties and stuff in October. And this, every year it's a certain safety message. So this year our fire prevention department is working hard on the lithium batteries because we do have fires with that. A lot of times it's aftermarket products, trying to hook them up to a good product. So they'll have a stamp on there. It'll say UL or ETL or CSA. Make sure that stamp's on there. And then also when you're done charging it, make sure it's unplugged. If you leave it charged for too long, that's when we can run into trouble. So those are nasty little fires. They're not good. It's a pain, and it's you plug something in, you think it's fine, and next thing you know, your house is on fire. So that's the message that you're going to hear a lot in Fire Prevention Month. A few things we haven't going on. We have our own training department in Wichita, and right now what they're doing is retraining some recruits. So we have, like any profession, there's constant turnover, but ours take 12 weeks to train them up. And sometimes longer than that if we have to get their EMT certification, their medical certification. So that's going on quite often. It's going on right now. We'll have a class coming out right around the first of the year probably to replace some people, but we're keeping up on that. Our applications are good, and we're staying up on that. One other thing with our training department, we've been in the process of rewriting some of our policies. It's something that we always adapt. We look at best practice around the nation, what works good, industry standards. So we've been working on our something that's called Mayday training when a firefighter goes down, and then how do we handle that, and also like focusing on a search for if someone's trapped. We always assume that somebody's trapped when we go to these fires. Thankfully, that's usually not the case, but that's always the operation that we start in. So we've been doing a lot of training with that, especially for my command staff. And we brought in, through some mutual aid agreements, Sedgwick County Fire has been training with us at Wichita and Derby and Andover. So we're getting this whole regional thing. So if some of these chaotic situations happen, we can work together well and know what the other guy's going to be doing, which is really important in the fire department. So that's a expanded deal on our. One more thing on a training. This was kind of cool. We have a special ops rescue team as dive guys, and we're right now we're certifying 26 guys as public safety divers, which is a lot more than just the typical scuba diver. So it's a long training process, and it's a pretty big certification. So we're really happy to have those guys, especially your guys' district is loaded up with sand pits, all kinds of things. And it's dangerous in the summer. It's dangerous in the winter with the ice. So we're getting a lot of guys trained on that, and we'll have them spread throughout the city so they're able to respond quickly. So we've been blocking off our stats. It comes in about the end of about the third week of the month. So from August 20th to September 20th, our FIU department investigated 12 fires. Some of those are still being determined. A lot of times we don't know if it's arson or not till those guys get finished. It's a process. But about $338,000 of damage this year on fires that are either undetermined or suspected arson. And we had a small fire in District 5 at around the Douglaston Ridge area, but it was undetermined source, not arson, and we got it shut down pretty quick before it did too much damage. I think that's all I have for you guys. There's always more information if you go on social media. We do that. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter or X. We have pages on there, and those will be updated pretty regular. So if you see something going on, it'll probably get posted there. And there also is an app called Civic Ready. I know I mentioned it to you guys before. I don't know how it works on the civilian side, but you can put an app on your phone, and when things happen, like somewhat major events, it'll give you alerts and let you know where to stay away from and what's going on. So it might be kind of handy for the council members to have that. Any questions for me on any of that? Yes, sir.
I don't have a question, but I think we appreciate the commitment of all of our first responders. But I wanted to recognize you tonight, Chief Eck, and wish you a happy birthday.
Gotta keep that secret, but thank you. I appreciate it. All right, you guys have a good night.
Very much. All right, next up is our public library report. Tracy Partridge.
Hi, everyone. I'm glad that you're here as always. So the first thing that I wanted to mention is right now is Banned Books Week, and that actually goes through October 11th. And that is an annual initiative where we celebrate everyone's freedom to read. And this year, the theme of it is Censorship is So 1984. It's a play off George Orwell's book, 1984. The Friends of the Library, they're actually doing a fundraising endeavor where people can actually buy a little packet with swag in it that says Censorship is So 1984 for $19.84. And that money actually goes to the library in order to support our materials, our technology, etc. But really, we'll be doing all sorts of activities. We'll have discussions here at the Westlink Branch Library on Saturday at 2:30. We're doing Banned Books Week Bingo, where we will give fabulous themed prizes for the winners of our various bingo games. Some other things that are happening. Fall break is coming up for USD 259, and the Teen Advisory Board at the Advanced Learning Library is going to actually host a Fortnite tournament on Friday, October 17th from 2:30 to 4, just for teens. Okay, so anyone who's not a teen, I'm so sorry. If you love Fortnite and are not a teen, it's not for you. It's just for teens. You can register online at our events on our website. Another thing that I want to mention is for you because you are all adults. At the Advanced Learning Library, they're having a Spooky Stories for Grown-ups program. That's actually an after-hours program on October 24th from 7 to 9 p.m. It's going to be immersive performance where local performers and actors will read scary stories. It's going to be hosted by Madam May from Madam May's Frights. Now, it is really intended for adults. There will be gore, there will be violence, and there will be frightening situations. So when making the decision to come to that event, make sure that you are okay with all three of those things. Another thing that I want to mention is we're doing a DIY day at the Advanced Learning Library on Saturday, November 1st. That's from 10 to 3 p.m. That's an annual program that we've been doing where the community has the opportunity to see local creators, makers, and tinkerers showcase their fabulous creations. And then also for the community to try different things. It's an interactive program. Another thing that I want to mention is our meeting room policy at the library is actually going to be changed so that that will go into effect January 2026 so that it can be more in alignment with our goals, our library goals. And so basically organizations and nonprofits who support advocacy, civic, charitable, educational, intellectual, or religious activities, they'll be able to reserve our meeting rooms for free, so long as their activities actually support like our vision and strategic goals to be a community hub for the city of Wichita, and then also to promote learning and engagement. Okay, and you can actually read what that will be on our website. Okay, under services and meeting rooms. And then the final thing that I want to mention is on Monday, October 13th, we will be having our annual in-service. That is a day that the library closes, and the whole goal is to make us smarter, the people that work here. And so we have a day of activities trying to impart as much knowledge as possible to us so that when we come back on the 14th, you're just blown away by everything that we share. I have set the expectation high, so now all of you have to come on October 14th and see if you're blown away by all that we share. But on that day, we also upgrade our computer system. And so if you try to access our catalog in the early morning from probably approximately 7 to 11, you're not going to be able to do it because we try and do things at the same time. If we're not going to be open, we're also going to not have our computer system at this little time so that people aren't impacted when they're inside our facilities trying to locate things. So our ebooks will still work. A lot of our databases will still be available. It's just that our catalog will not be accessible because that's what's actually getting updated. Does anybody have any questions? Because as usual, it was boom, boom, you know, thing after thing after thing that's coming. Yes,
Request, I'll be on a panel on October 13th.
yes.
That, so Be nice.
We're always. Yes, it's impossible not to be nice to you.
Tracy, I do have a question, and I don't know how much you know about that. At the airport, you're able to print out short stories.
Yes.
From the library.
Yes.
That is really cool. How do you submit those stories and how are they chosen? I'm just curious.
That is an excellent question, and I would need to get some more information about that, because I do not know anymore. But what I can do is I can get the information and then I will email it to you.
I would
And we'll
love that.
obviously email it to the whole group so all of us can get smarter.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen this, it's really interesting.
It is really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, but I will get it for you.
Okay, thank you, Tracy.
You're welcome. Anything else? Yes.
I just
You
wanna
got
know
one
it.
of the cards. Yes, the censorship is so 1984. That's the prize. Well, one of the like swag items is a very limited edition library card that says censorship is so 1984. It's really, really cool. I would want it, but I don't want to memorize my 14-digit number again. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. All right, moving right along. Next up is Parks and Recreation. We have Barbara McGuire, Program Specialist, gonna give us an update on District 5 and some other events across the city.
Hello, everybody. So here comes the fun stuff. So, because Parks and Recreation, we feel like we're the fun department with the city of Wichita. So, okay, so as far as the park updates, I feel like you can't see me. But as far as the park updates, the Prot Wetlands, the construction of the new interpretive playground is apparently underway. The site work is in progress and some concrete work has been done. They're estimating the completion date to be in early 2026, but it can be completed earlier if the weather cooperates. We don't get a lot of rain. There's some construction now that's going to really pick up in November. So, as far as the West Meadows Park, the repair of the playground safety servicing system is underway. Due to the flooding, they had some flood damage on June 3rd, so they're having to repair that. Completion is anticipated in the next couple of weeks, again, depending upon weather. If we get rain, that'll delay it too. And just so you know, this playground is partially being funded through a grant, so that's good for the city. As far as recreation centers and recreation updates, the recreation centers, this is Halloween. Obviously, it is time for, or not Halloween, it's October. So it's time for Halloween events and things coming up. So Wicked Island, it's our annual event out there at OJ Watson Park. It's your Scream fun, interactive activity for, anybody. I have to say that it is obviously really important to teens and young adults. They're the ones who love it the most. But the season has begun already, and it's going to be held every Friday and Saturday in October. And you have to get tickets in advance. The tickets start at $20, or you can pay more. I think it's like $40 or something like that for a fast pass. So if you don't want to wait in line, you can cut right to the front, just like they do in Disneyland. Disney World. And we have partnered again with Plant Kingdom, who actually put on the event, and then we just work with them on it. We've got a candy crawl in the park, and that's at Plainview Park on Friday, October 17th. It's from 6 to 8. It's open to all ages. And this will be the second year that we've done it at Plainview. Prior to that, it was at Platt Park. And then, of course, with all the construction there, we just had to move it. We've got a Halloween party at the Linwood Rec Center, also on Friday, October 17th, which is from 6 to 8. And that one's open to grade school kids. And even though those two locations are actually fairly close to each other, we found last year that neither impacted each other. We still had a lot of people at both events. So more parties, the better. There is also a Fall Fest Lowrider Trunk or Treat, which is kind of interesting, over there at the Evergreen Rec Center. That's the following weekend on October 24th. It's also from 6 to 8, and that's a really family-oriented fall festival. So it's also 6 to 8, and it's for all ages. And they have a lot of fun things with that. So, but the Lowrider group is apparently helping sponsor it and help support it. At the Great Plains Nature Center, they just celebrated 25 years of serving the community and providing nature education in their facility now. So it's hard to believe that it's already been 25 years, because it just seems like it was just a few years ago, but it's 25 years. They have served over 1.1 million students in their outreach programs. So that's a big part of what they do. It's not all of what they do, but it's a big part of what they do. So they reach a lot of people they actually go to locations and schools and do it. And then they also have schools come to them too. So that's pretty amazing. Also down at Watson Park, they have switched their hours to their winter hours. So they are now open 8 to 6 every day. So there's no more evening times, and the rides are only open on Saturdays and Sundays. So if you have any family members that you want to take, just know that rides are Saturdays and Sundays. At Lynette Woodard, you may be aware that Reggie Davidson was promoted from Superintendent of Park of Recreation up to the Park Director. So that left an opening in the superintendent area. Angela Buckner, who was able to get that position, she was from Lynette Woodard. So she's moved up into that position. So now there's an opening at Lynette Woodard. So where they're at with that director position is they have narrowed it down to a couple candidates. They obviously would like to get it filled as quickly as possible, but they're not rushing through the process. So that's in process right now. So the Carl Brewer Community Facility, if you're not aware of it, they've been closed down for over a year because of a whole big construction project that they're doing. It's really, really elaborate, and there's a lot of mixing in a lot of new stuff with the old stuff. And they've got a grand reopening, which is now set for Saturday, December 6th. It's going to be at 8:30 a.m. And I think that date has changed a few times. And they've said, this is the date we're doing it, even if we're not 100% ready or whatever, we're doing it that date. So that's when it'll be. So hopefully we'll get a chance to see you there. So you can come and see and take a look at the new facility. They are seeking public input on what types of programs that, people would like to see there. So, and again, Brewer Community, the facility, it's open to the entire community. I think people have the misconception that, our facilities that are in our neighborhoods are only for neighborhood people. And that is so not right. They're open to the entire public and the entire community. So if you have any suggestions about programs, they definitely want to know that. And that building was built in 1958, so it's definitely due for some revitalization there. So we're actually glad to get that. Also at McAdams Park, we've got McAfee Pool. It was McAdams Pool, now it's McAfee Pool. So it was built in 1969, and the pool is now on the National Register of Historic Places. So that's kind of exciting. And it was designed by Charles McAfee, and it was built for African-American children in the community because the other pools were not accessible to them. So there is going to be a big celebration also on that in June, kind of a kickoff for Charles McAfee will come and speak, and some other people come and speak, and there'll be like a free swim day, I believe, that day too for the public. So it'll be kind of fun to acknowledge that. As far as aquatics, all aquatics facilities are officially closed now. All the splash pads are closed down. So now comes the task for the aquatics directors to work on what are the issues, what are the problems that we occurred at our facilities and with our equipment during the summer. And it's time to kind of prioritize those and make a grand, huge list. And it's always huge list of what needs to be fixed or repaired. And then they'll get with Public Works to kind of go through those, and we hope that we'll get all of them repaired by the opening of the next pool season. Doesn't always happen, but that's always the goal. Athletics. So the Greater Wichita Junior Football Program is currently at 776 participants, which is a 44% increase over last year. So that is really, really great. And I think we've talked about it before, they've got a new feeder program that's going on with the Greater Wichita Junior Football. So right now they've got their middle school kids. When the middle school kids sign up, they are assigned to the middle school that they are attending. And then they'll be on a team with all the people who go to that middle school. And then with each of the high schools has two coaches that they're giving for that program. And those high school coaches are working with those middle schools, obviously, to build those kids up, get them working together. And so that way, when they feed into high school, they've got the edge on other people. So they work together, they know each other, they know the coaches. And so it's really been a win-win for everybody. So I anticipate that growing. And I think right now that there are 4 7th grade teams and 3 8th grade teams that have been created. So that's very, very exciting. Pretty much that's all that on the Greater Wichita Junior Football. The Miracle League, which is our special populations baseball program, it has also increased from 45 participants last year to 76 this year. So our special needs program is growing too. So that's always great to see. And that is not it. Is that it? Yeah, that is actually it. I was thinking I had some more programming stuff, but that is it. So what else can I tell you about that you want to know about? Any questions?
Questions?
I know it's a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Parks and Rec oversee the
We do not oversee Sedgwick County Park. That is Sedgwick County. However, Sedgwick County and City of Wichita Parks and Recreation are starting to do some collaborative stuff together. We're just kind of in the introductory experimental phase of it. We've had several meetings. And so we're trying to work with them. So then that way, like we're gonna put their, like over there at Sedgwick County Park, put their rental facilities on our system so people can rent a little bit easier. We're gonna try to do some programs over there. So we're gonna try to do a little bit better blending, but it's still run by Sedgwick County.
What about?
Of Sedgwick County, that's everything at Sedgwick County Park and at the Lake Afton is still all done by the city, I mean, by the county. So you have to contact them if there's any things that you want to see done or repairs or issues.
That tree, needs to come down before it falls off.
Ah.
There's about 100 of them.
This one is.
I know, right by the path on the west side in the tree.
I mean, I know that the city, we have our reporting system. I honestly don't know what the county has in place. I mean, if you needed to know, I bet we can find out and let you guys know what the process is for reporting that. That helps you.
There's a lot of deferred maintenance. Said
This one is right. next to
I
the
know.
house.
I got the same thing. Yeah, it's all rotted out in the middle.
I see through it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that the ones that are had huge safety issues, I'm sure those will be, I would think that those would be addressed.
I don't know. It's been there for months.
Has it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Huge part of it came down already, and somebody cut it up and moved it off the path.
Okay.
But the rest of it, and it's big.
I'll see if I can find out who you contact, and then it probably wouldn't hurt if multiple people.
I'll talk to the county commission.
Okay, you got it. Okay. Anything else?
Thanks, Barbara.
All righty. Thanks a bunch. And just one more thing. Chiefs.
Can I have a motion to receive and file the staff reports?
Almost registered files.
Is there a second? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Okay. Moving right along, under new business, we have a zoning case, and Philip Siebenbergen from our Metropolitan Area Planning Department will present this for us.
She did the race for saying that.
A couple years now, so I'm like, finally.
Yeah.
It's an awesome one, so I was like, okay.
That's up and down.
Perfect, thank you. Well, good evening. I am Philip Siebenbergen with the Metropolitan Area Planning Department. We have one zoning item tonight. It is located at 720 North Westlink. It is currently home to the Westlink Regular Baptist Church. The property is currently zoned single-family residential. And the request is go to limited commercial, and the applicant and their agent, who's not quite here, she's at District 4. So hopefully, oh, you're here. Okay, perfect. We're going kind of working with District 4. I'm trying to like compare notes on who could present when and get here. They're requesting limited commercial for a mixed use commercial development. They offered a protective overlay when they submitted this. That essentially means they understand that full limited commercial probably wouldn't necessarily be completely appropriate. And they actually kind of worked with staff on anything like we had suggestions for it or things like that. So we kind of came to the middle on what the protective overlay is. What that is you have a base zoning regulation, and protective overlay, it can only be restrictive. So it essentially restricts it back down to different things in different areas in an effort to tailor it and make it more appropriate than just leaving it full limited commercial. I'm just going to go to the pictures because that's what everybody likes to see. We don't read words anymore. The property is currently developed as a church. The church is located on the more northwesterly side of the property. The remainder of the site is really undeveloped except for the church's sign, which is right at the tip. It is a very unique site in that it doesn't actually have frontage on Central. The main street frontage on the south and west is Westlink, and then you have Murray Avenue on the east and the northeast. There would be a change in development standards as are listed in your staff report. Keep in mind that with residential zoning to the northwest and to the northeast of the site, our zoning code has compatibility standards when it comes to building setbacks and building height. Given the location in this, building height would be limited to 35 feet in height, and so you're not going to get the full height of permitted commercial in there. I should back up a second. The phase one or primary reason they're wanting to do this is there is a chiropractic clinic that wants to locate inside of the existing church building and use it. That played into how we developed the protective overlay, and you'll see that in terms of the differing amount of uses you can do on different parts of the site, because that was their primary focus on wanting to move into that existing church building and occupying it as a chiropractic office. And then really rezoning the rest of the site for some future commercial development later on down the road that they're not necessarily sure about yet. I'll also skip ahead here in a second. This is the land use map out of our comprehensive plan. Everything in pink is identified by the comprehensive plan as being appropriate for commercial uses. This one being kind of a larger chunk of land right on the edge of the neighborhood, basically on Central, kind of lended to continuing the commercial development that is on the commercial corridor that is Central. We obviously wanted to be sensitive to the residential context that is surrounded on two sides. And again, that kind of played into why we developed the protective overlay to work into that. Our zoning code obviously also has screening standards. The northwest property line and this northeasterly property line would have to follow those screening standards. This is that very northeast property line. This is Murray Avenue in front of us here. Essentially kind of made a determination on this portion of the site, this very mature hedgerow would satisfy that at any point. If that were to come down, they would have to put in a 6-foot screening fence. The other side of the church property just has a chain link fence between it and the house, so that would have to be upgraded to a 6-foot standard screening fence. Any screening along the street here could either be accomplished by the screening fence or a landscape code would come into play depending on how they develop the side of it. It's more of the side of the site, they could choose to do a screening fence. If it's more the front access point of something, they would have to do a landscape street yard, and that kind of works together, say if you do one or the other. Parking and lighting. Let's talk about lighting in a second. First, we have compatibility standards with the height of light poles. If you are within 200 feet of residential zoning, your light pole is limited to 15 feet in height. So you don't have huge, tall parking lot lights like you have at Newmarket Square or something like that. And the zoning code has a standard, regardless of the height of your light, that everything is pointed down and directed away from residential zoning to avoid and limit the amount of light trespass that could pass off of the site. Parking would be based on the use of the site. It's not necessarily based on the zoning. So that as the site were to develop in the future, any parking needs would have to be accommodated based on the type of the use, and it have to be obviously accommodated on site. So when it comes to future development of the site, several different things play into it. Of you obviously have to park the use of the size of your building or the amount of occupancy you might have in your building would have to be able to have the accommodation of parking on site as well. So it actually would possibly limit the intensity uses on the site based on the smaller nature of this site as well, knowing already a portion of it is developed with what is proposed to be a chiropractic office. Signage limited commercial does provide a significant increase in sign rights. That being said, because this is on a local street, which is Murray, and a collector street, which is Westlink, it does pare down the amount of signage than if it actually had frontage on Central. So limited commercial on an arterial road like Central would have a lot more sign rights because it's an arterial roadway. The sign code takes into fact of like if you're more tucked in somewhere and you have less busy streets like a collector street or a local street, it reduces the amount of sign area. It reduces the number of signs that you can have. I did a deep dive into the sign code. I'm sure it was joyful reading that you had in there, but kind of just took a step of like, because they really weren't sure exactly what they're doing, I just kind of covered the full gamut of what sign is. If you have any specific questions about the table that's in your staff report, I'd be happy to go over those in detail versus taking the time to drive through them right now. A LED or electronic message sign would be permitted, but in the protective overlay, we are recommending that that be prohibited because of the residential uses that are across Murray Avenue. We didn't want that to be there and have an effect on the residential uses on the northeast side of the site. The surrounding context, we talked about a little bit. You have residential single-family homes in this area here. You do have, sorry, went the wrong way. These properties here are zoned commercial, and you got, it's an office of them, kind of has like a radio antenna for, I think, broadcasting of some kind. It's a very small building, and then you have, I believe it's a vet clinic at this location. Across West Lincoln, across the creek, you have a bank and a church. And then, of course, across Central, you have a very large commercial shopping complex as well. So kind of a mixed bag. Obviously, as you get more internal to the neighborhood, lower intensity uses. As you get closer to Central, you have higher intensity uses. So again, the applicant's proposed protective overlays listed in your staff report. We kind of massage this and tweak this through the process, and we provided recommendations or suggestions to them, and they were willing to accept those through the process. So our recommended protective overlay matches what the applicant proposed because we kind of worked on it through the process. And I'll go over that in the recommendation part of the presentation. As I mentioned before, the comprehensive plan does identify this as appropriate for commercial uses. That doesn't mean we get the highest intensity commercial uses. We have to look at the surrounding context and our locational guidelines in order to make it work with the context around it, knowing there is residential nearby. There are a development pattern guideline states that small neighborhoods serving retail and office uses and high density residential uses not located at arterial intersections should be limited to the intersection of an arterial and a collector. That's what this is. We have Central and Westlink, which is an arterial and a collector. So small neighborhood retail, small neighborhood offices, possibly some multifamily, which limited commercial would allow. This, by the comprehensive plan, is an appropriate location for that. Compatibility guidelines talk about, I'm just going to read it to you. Says, except in mixed use developments, residential and non-residential developments generally should be separate and distinct with appropriate screening and buffering to ensure compatibility among uses. The required screening and landscaping along the property lines that are shared with residential zoning are there as a design to provide that separation and mitigate possible negative impacts. Plus, there's additional language in the protective overlay that is limiting the number of uses that could be on site, taking out the higher intensity uses that limited commercial could allow in a different location. So staff does feel that the request is appropriate with this recommendation for a protective overlay. I'll throw that on the screen so everybody can see it. That way you also have it available as this moves through with any discussion or questions or at the time where a motion is looking at. So the very first one is the northwest 100 feet of this site. That's essentially encompasses the church and a little bit more. So the northwest 100 feet gets you to about here. It encompasses the whole parking lot and the church building. The northwest 100 feet of this site is limited to the uses by right in neighborhood retail. That's the zoning classification just under limited commercial. It allows for retail. It does not allow for drive-through restaurants, but it allows restaurants. They are limited to a certain size. It does not allow nearly as much in terms of commercial uses as a limited commercial does. Again, it is the closest to the residential uses that are nearby. And that's the part that they have a specific use that they want in the building, and neighborhood retail gets them that use for the chiropractic clinic, which could be a difference between medical use or a personal care service, depending on what they offer out there. If they have like massage therapy in there, then it's personal improvement as well as possibly medical. So that's what we did. And we said the closest thing to the residential that's directly abutting against it, we are significantly restricting those uses. We added some of these uses here just for continuity with what's in number 2, which is a list of uses for the rest of the site that are prohibited. And so we didn't want to allow uses in the NR area that would be prohibited in the LC area. And so we're recommending that these uses be prohibited on the rest of this site. So we have group residence general, that's like a frat house. That's essentially non-related individuals of any number in a residential setting. Could be a sorority, could be any type of, congregate living, doesn't necessarily have to be a frat house. It's just the easiest one to pick on. Sorry if you ever went to Pratt. I didn't have to pay for my friends. Correctional placement residents, that actually had other guidelines to where it probably wouldn't have been able to locate there with residents, but it sounds good to put it in the protective overlay anyway. Recycling collection stations, both public and private, car wash, everybody doesn't like those anymore anyway. Construction sales and service, convenience store, entertainment establishment in the city also would likely require conditional use based on its location, but it's good to put it in here too. Because then if they wanted one, they would have to do the conditional use and amend the protective overlay, so it puts additional roadblocks in there. Event center in the city, the difference between those is one provides entertainment, the other one is just like a place somebody can rent. Hotel, motel, nightclub in the city, a lot of these are very similar in uses. Commercial parking areas, so you can't just have a parking lot. For the sake of a parking lot, service stations like a gas station, tavern and drinking establishment. And then vehicle repair limited, that's your mechanic shop and asphalt and concrete plant. So a lot more high intensity uses, a lot of uses that would probably have later hours of operation. And would likely be not as compatible in the area. So again, all those uses are prohibited on the site. We had specific regulations regarding drive-through facilities. Again, this is on the part of the site that's not the church part of the site. This is the southeasterly majority of the site that is less close to the residential uses. We have specific language here that says it's prohibited from having any speaker on the east or the north side of the building. We go back to the map just for a visual. The east side or the north side of the building. Again, the areas that are nearest the residential, we don't want blaring speakers at 5 a.m. if, well, there isn't a scooters here yet. You know, we don't want people at 5 a.m., 16 people going through a scooters line. And the noise of the speaker being a hindrance or an annoyance to neighbors. So specific placements of where speakers can't be. We also have orientation language regarding headlight trespass. Primary orientation of the headlights have to be to the southeast or the south or southwest because it's an awkwardly shaped site. And have to shine toward commercial properties. It could go to the north or northwest if it's designed to where like the church building or some other obstruction is blocking them from the houses to the northwest. Because those are the two main things with drive-throughs are speaker noise and headlights just blowing through at dark times of the day when some people want to be sleeping. Again, regarding signage, prohibiting LED or EMC signs, those are electronic message signs. No offsite signs or billboards, no portable signs or balloon signs. And then building signs, not allowing any illuminated building signs on any face that faces residential. So if you're on the Murray Avenue side or on the very northwest side, they can put a building sign in, it just can't be lit. That way people can see during the day and then it's not a light annoyance at night. The last two are just standard things that a transfer title, meaning if they ever sell the property, this protective overlay goes with the land. It doesn't stop if this person doesn't want to build what they want to build anymore. And then any changes have to go to the planning commission or the governing body for consideration. So an amendment to the protective overlay has to go through this whole public process all over again. We had one public comment that we received via email. They were not able to go to the planning commission meeting a week and a half ago. They're concerned about the impact of possible commercial development on the area, possibly increasing traffic on the local roads. I don't want to say too general to say the gamut of, decrease in property values, just impact of just more people or traffic or light trespass, things like that. So we did receive that comment. At planning commission, there was no one who spoke against this. Again, the person who provided us the comment specifically said they weren't going to be able to make it. The planning commission considered this and had a unanimous approval with this protective overlay. And so with that, I can stand for any questions that you have for staff.
Any questions for Philip from the board? Okay. Anyone from the audience have any questions for Philip?
We got Kim committing to the agents. She flew in from tab 4.
Literally.
Thank you so much for helping to rearrange to be in 2 places at the same time. So, Kim Edgington with PSC Consulting. I am representing the new owners of this property. We worked with, staff was great. They helped us come up with I think, a very reasonable set of regulations that will ensure that this property gets improved, but also is a great neighbor. So I'm just here to answer any questions that you might have. Currently, Dr. Devin Brina is here, and they will be relocating an existing business from South Tyler to this property. So there are no changes proposed at the moment, other than interior. They're going to use the same church building. They've been working with an architect to do the needed improvements inside, but right now there's nothing big planned, but we want to make sure that in the future that we kind of have everything set up so that it protects the neighborhood and then also can be a benefit to the community. If you have any questions, I will be glad to try to answer those.
Questions? Bring it up.
You're saying there's no specific land use planned right now for the remaining part of that?
Not now. There is a hope that someday they can bring in some community partners that they're already working with, that they can do, craft fairs, art fairs, Saturday afternoon, farmers market type uses. So all of that required the commercial zoning. So that was kind of part of the plan, is to set the table for that in the future. They would like to, bring in groups that they're already partnering with, and have the ability to expand there in the future.
Anyone from the audience have any questions? So the planning department's recommendation is to approve with this protective overlay number 460. Can I get a motion to approve or any further discussion?
Oh, no, I'd love to go ahead and make a motion or a proposed action to approve with the protective overlay 460.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And with that.
Still game time.
Here at 6 o'clock.
I'm still with it.
November.
Okay, we're not gonna do. Reading.